But Tia is a tarot and astrology chart reader who is in the Chicago, Illinois area here in the U.S. and came across her Instagram page not too long ago and immediately saw the love and light she was sharing with her audience and knew that we would have a fun conversation. So I reached out to her, and this is what we are going to have today. So excited to introduce you guys to Tia. And without further ado, for me, if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on, Noel. It was such a pleasant thing to see in my inbox on Instagram. I was like, oh, because a lot of times I feel like we get invited to things or there are messages that come through. But this really resonated with me for a few reasons, and mostly because I think it's so important that now we spread a little bit more awareness and we make spirituality approachable, because a lot of people have some misconceptions. So I come from a sales training and artistry background. So I'm trained as a trainer. So, I worked for a few different companies doing that. And then I also was a makeup artist and had my own wedding business. So I did that for a while, but I never felt super fulfilled. A lot of it was because I didn't feel like I was in my true calling. And I had always done tarot for about 10 years. I've always done tarot. But I just never publicized it, right? I come from a very Greek American culture. And so, you have the job, you have a typical life, but I always have been called to spirituality. I'm a huge seeker. And I've had a lot of great influence in my life. I've always sought like-minded people, and some of them are on today. So I decided to really approach this and do this for people, and then the more I did it, the more things came through. So with tarot, I'm very much an intuitive. I'm an empath. I can see things and feel things. A lot of my mediumship comes sporadically and spontaneously, but tarot allows me to focus. So my readings are really just about embracing the subconscious that normally doesn't come through in conversation with people. And with astrology, I really believe that we're born to certain tendencies and traits. And when you know yourself, you really know your purpose. So always I go back to the goal that if I can bring awareness to somebody, then that little amount of awareness will help them grow exponentially. So it started with my own journey, and then it became a journey for others.
I love it. I love it. I love how you said right off the bat that you've always been a seeker. I've been really strongly recommending just humanity, anybody that I can touch, to like this element of life of seeking, new awareness, new consciousness, and not even that we have to go out to get it. Just being open to it is more really all that we need. Is if we're open to new consciousness, new awareness, new things coming into our path from anyone, anytime, anywhere, any moment, it will just be constant forever. And when Tia described herself as a seeker, that's awesome because now she's consciously evolving. She's evolving on purpose, and that's what I want for anybody out there to get away from. If you think that you know it all, that just you're cutting yourself off from so many cool adventures and new things that will come into your experience that will help you on your life and whatever part of your life that matters to you most right now. So I love that you said that right off the bat. And when it comes to you sharing with other people, I always know, Tia, that we go from little unconditional loving little babies when we come here on this earth, and for a lot of us, we forget who we truly are along the journey, and it actually serves us. It gives us when we forget in that forgetting period. There's lots of challenge and difficulty and contrast, and all those things are helping our souls evolve. And really, that's what one of the reasons that we came here. And so I'm always curious how the light bulb either comes back on, or if you're one of the rare cases where you never forgot who you truly are, and you've just been unconditional loving little baby, and then boom, here we are, Tia, and no challenges at all. But I'm thinking that it might be the former versus the latter.
Yeah, what's so crazy? I really believe that's like the veil, right? We come here and we do all the right things based on our society, based on our familial expectations. I come from a Greek American family. I'm very proud of that. But the way that our community works is it's almost tribal. So what one person does, you do it too. So when you have a difference of opinion, or when you are somebody who's a little bit more open-minded in certain ways, or more evolved, or more progressive, and not in a negative way, in a very positive way, you have an internal identity struggle. And I think that happens in a lot of cultures and a lot of ways that people are having that moment of revelation for themselves. I remember being 3 years old and looking up in the sky and thinking, I'm here again, and being like completely just, oh, okay, I guess I did this again, but not being conscious. And then when I was younger, I was in tune as well, and I even said I never want to see dead people. Like, I would tell my parents that. And I never watched The Sixth Sense. I was very aware there was a sensitivity to me. I didn't know what it was. As I became older, I started seeking when I was in college. I was the girl that was taking like religious tests online to figure out what my religion was, because I knew I couldn't really resonate with what I had seen a lot of my friends follow, a lot of our culture follow, and then a part of me was like, this is bullshit. So I just really felt there was something more that wasn't so black and white. And then my real spiritual awakening hit when I was 25. It was around the same time I met my life coach, and like now second mama, who's Sylvia Friedman, who's very well known in this industry, especially in Chicago. And I met her, and I just finally fell into line with really being open, and it just turned on. I will tell you, the last 2 years I've really embraced coming out of what I was expected to be. So I'm really into, I love sales, I love training, I love people, but I wasn't fulfilled. And so I realized why. It's just because it was the vehicle. I think I'm supposed to be around people and touch people, but not in the traditional way. And I think that still hits hard for me, because your comfort zone is your comfort zone. And out of your comfort zone, even if you know you're being called to something greater, it's still a little uncomfortable. So there's that process as well, which I'm glad you asked me. I've always been a seeker, though. Always.
I love it. I love it. And with seeking comes the openness for life to evolve. And just like you described, and because I was there as well, like working in sales jobs, and the lack of freedom in corporate America wasn't really for me. I prefer to do what I want when I want, anytime I want, is kind of my flow. And so that wasn't for me, but I was so open to, as a seeker as well, I was just open for the universe, God, source, love, all that is to bring me whatever it is that I could get behind and like really enjoy. Because like in my life journey, like I thought I was going to be doing something totally different. I thought I was going to be a pro athlete, and then all of a sudden, like when that didn't happen, early 20s, like I'll be happy when syndrome kicked in, and trying to outside seek, trying to manipulate things so that I could feel good on the inside, which we know that doesn't work very well. And so, but just because I always had that openness and I didn't think I knew it all, and it still don't and never will, I was able to have some things that, move me into the direction. And I really want to hit on something that you just inspired me to just remind the audience, because as long as we can be open, to allowing life to evolve, you may be doing something out there right now where you're like, this definitely is not the end all be all for me. Like maybe you're in a job that you're not, so happy with, or a relationship that you're not so happy with. And just being open to allowing life to evolve. There are things that you're experiencing at that job or in that relationship, or maybe with a health challenge or any area of life that might not be exactly as you may want it to be right this moment. You'll be able to look back on these things, whether it be, a few months from now, a year from now. I look back on so many things and be like, wow, I see why I was experiencing that. Because again, I evolved in such a way to where now I'm utilizing all those lessons and those evolutions now. And without those, I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing now. So you find that as a part of your journey, I'm sure, as well, when it comes to...
Oh, totally. And it's so funny because I say this with a lot of respect to what my old career was and what I was doing, is because it really created the confidence for me to be able to speak publicly. Like, whatever you go through is part of your path. It's still spiritual. So it's still part of that innate process, right? You need to condition just to decondition. Does that make sense? So that, like, and especially, of course, like, if you're a free spirit or if you're more of an old soul, the corporate environment, the way that it is now, isn't really conducive to that spirit. So that I always say, like, hopefully it'll change. A lot of things are happening in the world right now that we're waking up to, and I'm really happy because the people that maybe weren't even willing to be open and spiritual like we are now really getting a taste of what it means to just see things differently. Even if it's like a small taste, right? Because I do believe, like I always tell people, the people that I want to attract into my life as far as like clients and to be able to help are the people that are the most skeptical. Because it's those people that I just want to show the practicality of what it means to be open and spiritual versus, people have assumptions, right? People have assumptions about what it means to be spiritual or in this world, right? So I think like we went the traditional route just to go untraditional.
Absolutely, absolutely. My question for you is because I love what you just hit on, and we're all of us, like when we're open to new awarenesses and spirituality or whatever the case may be, like it'll arrive to us like right when we're ready to utilize it. And one thing that I noticed about just the global challenges that we've had as a collective in 2020, because especially with the initial, like with the coronavirus and people not being able to do as many external things, and still like there are some things externally like in the world outside that we can't do the same as we did prior. It's forced people, not forced, but a lot of people, their only option was to go within, and to start generating happiness from without needing the external things. And for those that have been able to do that, there's been huge growth for people, because that's really the one of the biggest light bulb moments that any of us could have is, wait a minute, like, because I was like the best in the world at, let me manipulate the external. Like if things are going good at the job, or if things are going good in the relationship, or if the health is going how I like it, then I'm going to feel good. And if I perceive them not to be, then I'm not going to feel so good. So life was just always this roller coaster ride. And once we discover, wait a minute, what is happening in the external, in my reality and in the collective is reflecting from what's going on internally. That's such a big breakthrough for any of us. And then life becomes more about, well, I can be happy now, regardless of the external. And then when I go do things that externally I enjoy, I can bring that already happy now energy to it. And then it's an even more enjoyable experience. So have you noticed people in your life or clients or just different stories about people now going inside?
I found it. So I'm really close to my godfather, and my godfather's in his 70s. He's super, a very bright light himself, like super energetic. The minute the coronavirus happened and he had to stay inside, he works in a restaurant that's very popular in the city. He's around people know him. The minute that he had to stay inside and had to be reflective, it really triggered him. And I noticed it because then he became kind of like, I'm not going to stay inside. It like really made him struggle. And what I did think, it made him realize that life was not just about working, and that he kind of then was able to enjoy me and enjoy his family. And I think a lot of people around me are so uncomfortable with going within. But the funny thing is, my business grew because people were like, oh my God, I'm feeling all these things. What do I do with it? What does this mean? And I really like to create groundedness in my approach to helping people, because I can talk to you about crystals all day. I don't know if it's going to help you, or I can show you who you are and it'll help you. So that I did see a lot more of. Whereas, like, I was so excited that I could stay in. I was like, yes, I'm an extrovert, but I was like, yeah, like I can do more of like, my own thing, the stuff that I really actually enjoy that has nothing to do with the external world. So you're right. A lot of people were getting stir crazy. A lot of people.
I experienced a little bit of both. I'll tell everybody. I mean, people have heard me say this on, especially the podcast that I was doing, because initially I was like, I got to load my schedule up because I need human connection, human interaction. So there were days where I did like 3 or 4 of these, like back to back to back. And so that was the most difficult, because I'm an extrovert as well. And human connection, like being able to interact with human beings. And as that fear factor kicked in initially, where nobody, I perceived that nobody wanted to talk to each other, and I kind of just like ruled you out if like I immediately saw, even before it was more popular to wear masks, like when people were like on it, I was like, well, they don't want to talk to me, so rule them out. I'm used to just talking to humans when I'm out and about. Like if you're next to me and we both observe something, whether it be a bird or something, anything, like you're my new best friend for this moment. Like we're gonna talk about it. And so that's just how I operate in the world. So that was a challenge initially, but I had to release it and say, you know what? The universe knows how much I enjoy human connection and human interaction in all the ways, shapes, and forms. And so I'm just going to focus on what I can do in the moment, the things that I can focus on right now. And again, just bring my best Noel energy that I can to whatever I'm doing. Maybe I'm not blissed out of my mind, right now. I could be. I experienced some bliss, during the whole quarantine, situation. But as soon as I released it, then life started to pick up, and things that I really enjoyed to experience started happening. So that's just a really great reminder for all of us. It's like when we're trying to like force or manipulate or hold on to something or struggle against something, we're not in tune. We're not in the frequency to allow the things to come in that we want in whatever area of life that we want them in. So very, very important. How did it end up going with did your uncle release it? How did it end up going? Yes, and yes, you can ask me anything.
Yeah, he did. He embraced it after he realized like it's so important to have some time off. I mean, he was working he's 70 years old, worked 6 days a week, 18 14 hours a day. So that's a lot of distraction, right? So it's a lot, and your energy now is involved with other people at all times. And I get it because I've always been the people business. So I get it. But it's so funny when you go from that constant simulation to coming with it. So he's better now. Actually, he's back at work. He's super happy. So that's fine again. But my question for you is, what's your zodiac sign?
I'm October 6th, Libra.
Libra. Okay, nice. So very nice. Do you believe in astrology, or are you just more like just open and, you know?
I'm open to everything because I see life as there's universal law and then everything else is possibility. So I never rule out anything from anyone at any time because there's always something there. Everything, life is just one ongoing synchronicity, things that we can't predict. So as long as I'm open to all possibilities, I can receive a synchronicity regardless if it doesn't have to be specifically even what the person was sharing. I could receive synchronicity just from the story that you're sharing about. So I'm open to everything. The most things that I've learned about astrology have been from speaking to astrologers. So I'm fascinated by it. I can't teach on it, but I'm super fascinated by it.
It's really interesting. I mean, it's funny because, you have to meet, so if I did your birth chart and I looked into it, you have such a pleasant interaction. Of course, like Libras can be very just easy with the crowd. I always say, I feel like my Libra friends are always the ones that are just generally happy to be there. Just that's how I feel about them. And the funny thing is, so you have a lot of fire energy. So I almost wondered if you were like a Leo or had like a Leo rising, because you bring a vibrance that is very, it's strong, but it's welcoming. So it's just really interesting to kind of see it. That's why I asked you. So
For sure.
You're a Libra, but you got some other influence in your chart because you have this lot of vibrance. I don't know how to explain to you, but it's fire energy.
I'm fascinated by all of this stuff. So what you feel for me, and we're just reflections, as you know. So I always get a kick out of what people point out in me because that's what's vibrating inside of them for them to even notice it and point it out. Just yep. Side note for you guys out there, if you're pointing out anything at another human being, whether you're condemning them or judging them or criticizing them, just know that that's what's reflecting right now from you. That's what's going on. So if you notice yourself doing that a lot, then there's some work there that can be done if you choose to pay attention to it. Same thing if you find yourself complimenting people all the time and saying, you're awesome, I love what you're doing, and all that. That's what's vibrating inside of you as well. So keep doing that. Awesome synchronicities will continue to happen. But what you feel from me, Tia, is really, there was a phase in my life where, because I was so externally focused, that it was hard to have momentum, carry the energy where I like it to be, like what you're feeling right now. And now, because my focus for years has just been what's my present moment vibration, frequency, energy, mood, that's what matters to me most. Then I come into conversations like these or just human connection period where I just want to have fun with Tia. I just want to see what we can say and do to empower and impact the audience. And then the cool thing about energy is momentum will carry that energy to a place where it's whoa, that feels really powerful. But what you described, it's just momentum is carrying it there because I'm just enjoying the conversation. So.
No, it's true. I mean, I think you're up. It's so, I feel like you remind me a lot of myself. Like when you talk about your past self, it's exactly how I was. I mean, I just remember going to work and being like, why am I so unhappy? Why am I so unhappy? And so every day I was pretty unhappy. And so it's so funny now. I just accepted. I mean, I went through a phase. So mind you, I've gotten laid off 3 times, and I'm 30 years old. So I've gotten laid off 3 times. Okay, so I don't know if it was the universe giving me a signal, kind of being like, you need to get the hell out of here. I don't know what it was because I'm a Taurus and we're pretty stubborn, so I sure as hell wasn't going to quit. So I was fighting against the grain. And so the minute that I just let the universe kind of use my energy and allow me to flow with it instead of me forcing one way or the other way like you do, like you were talking about, not now, but before, we both, I think when you're driven, when you want a lot in your life, when you see the value of this lifetime, you appreciate that you're here again, you just want so much. And so you try and push it. And I feel like I'm glad you brought that up because I do want whoever's listening to know that whatever is meant for you is not going to miss you. And the only way it's going to miss you is honestly if you're in the moment not appreciating it. Because it could be really happening to you right now and you're just asleep to it. So I really always remind myself that because we all get a little stir crazy still. We all have the expectations and the feelings of society. We all get influenced. But I think it's cool that you talk about how now whatever's in you is out of you. It's true. It's very true. And it's in the people that you attract as well. The more I'm feeling down, I'll tell you, I attract more people that are down. at least in my past, like especially more so. And I'd be like, oh, like they're not like me. And then I'm like, well, wait, hold on. I wasn't feeling too good. What was I putting out there? So we're not going to always be perfect, but at least being mindful.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Like you just inspired me in two different ways. I'm going to decide which direction I want to go with this, because so important what you just said as far as what's meant for us is not going to miss us. This is so important for everybody out there to know, because like the only way that anything that we want to be or do or have will not physically manifest for us in this physical life experience is if we continue to be the frequency of the lack of it. Like, so for most of us, the biggest challenge, as far as to manifest the health that we want, or the relationship that we want, or the finances that we want, is we see right now, maybe you want to manifest more money out there, and you see the bank account that is not what you like it to be right now. You're like, ooh, that doesn't feel so good. And so that's in your attention, because that's, in our mind, that's present tense. With what we don't really realize is the energy to create that present tense bank account has already been completed. Like you've already flowed energy into that to create what you see presently. So you're actually looking at past energy in the present. And the way to create new energy, the way to create new manifestation is to create energy right now and right now and right now. So the only way that we can not create whatever it is that we desire here is if we continue to keep putting energy on what is already, old news. And just like, so what we see in the world right now, like we want to create equality, we want to create, all of these things. All we have to do is continue to put our energy and our frequency on what we want to see, and then we'll attract other people that want to see that energy, and that just will become, I like been using this term because they've been using it a lot, and I don't watch the news, but I've been hearing like the new normal. Like that will be the new normal. Like whatever it is that we want to put our attention on and our energy on, that will be our normal in our life, and then the collective, that will turn into the normal for all of us. And so the only way that anything that is meant for us will miss us is if we leave this physical body. But good news for you and for all of us is, I mean, I don't want to, we can go here in this conversation as well, but it just misses us in this physical life, but you'll still be able to experience things, because this energy that we're feeling is, this energy is eternal. And, what we choose to do after we leave this avatar that we're in, not really for me to know or even decide. Doesn't really matter too much to me, because I'm here right now and I'm enjoying this physical version of my energy. But, you'll never really miss it for sure. I just want you to experience it in this life, if you can.
Well, that's the goal. I want people, I think the thing is that when you're in the spiritual industry, I call it, where we're an industry, I feel. There's so many different levels and practices, and not everybody resonates with everything, and you find your niche. I mean, I'm trained, I have certifications in energy healing. I don't want to work as an energy healer. But when you know about something that could help somebody in this way, because most people are stuck. A lot of people are really stuck in who they don't want to be. They don't even think it's an option to create any kind of change in themselves. They really feel like, oh no, but this is what I'm doing. I have bills to pay. I gotta keep doing. And I get it. Like, we have a lot of responsibilities, people. We incarnated into this lifetime. Otherwise, we would just have stayed light bodies and had no responsibility. But I always tell people, if you're willing to really look at yourself, you will find exactly what you are, and a lot of it's going to be good. And if you can, my wonderful life coach always says count the good. And I always try to do that when I'm in my head about something, because we generally don't count the good. And I see it in so many people. I mean, I see it in loved ones and close friends of mine that are amazing people, and they have no idea their potential. And then I'll bring up some of the spiritual, universal attraction. Like, Tia, do you really, like, I mean, I don't want to hear this right now. And I'm like, but you have to. As much as you don't want to accept that there's more, there is more. There's a lot more. And so I think your work is so important, and that's why I was happy to be on this. Just because I think your message and your mission resonates with me so much. Because I think that as an extrovert, all we do is talk. We talk to people, we enjoy people, but if we're not pushing good things, we're not doing what we came here to do. Because if you are spiritual, if you are an extrovert, if you are service-oriented, I do believe part of your mission is to spread the message in some way. Even if it's in little ways, even if it's a conversation with a girl at Trader Joe's, I don't care. Talk about it. And it can be really simple. It's in the little things you say, not in the big things. So I really like what you have to say.
Likewise.
I don't know my answer.
Tia's trying to get off. Tia's trying to get off this live stream with me right now. I can hear her. You got somewhere to go?
I don't know where to be, but I want to make sure I am, giving like what you're trying to spread to your followers.
It's perfect.
People that hear you, are.
I told Tia going into this that everything that was meant to come out would come out, and we've shared some powerful things right now. And I'm getting ready to share something super powerful for everybody. It escaped me for a second, but it always comes back because I just stay in the playful frequency that the thought came initially. So it will return. But yes, everything that is meant to come out will come out. I'm really excited to share whatever this is. It escaped me, but it's gonna pop back into my mind here in a second.
The minute that we start talking about something else. So, okay, so for you, how did you have your awakening, your spiritual moment? Like, do you practice any form of spirituality?
I remember what I was gonna say because of you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
So this is very important because you mentioned, and this ties into what you just asked me. So you mentioned a second ago to count the count the little things? You said something. Count the good things. So important. Like I'm gonna hit you guys with a physics reminder right now that is just so important. They say that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So here's what happens when you count the good things. When you're in gratitude, and I hit on this. I was running to the gym earlier today, and because we like to do affirmations. Well, affirmations are awesome out there. Can we though be grateful for the things that we're affirming as if they're already happening without even needing to see any evidence of them happening? Because if we can, then we're having the exercise of gratitude as we're flowing that out. The action of gratitude, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever we're flowing gratitude out there, if you're flowing out to God, universe, love, all of it is, what happens? The reaction from the universe flows back to you with more of those things that you're already grateful for. So when you count the good things that are already in your life, you just receive more good things. And so if for no other reason, be grateful because you receive more good things. It also feels really good to be grateful. And if you're not being grateful, if you're not appreciating what it is that you have, then you're in the energy of lack and of not appreciating, which then, unfortunately, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and then more things that you don't appreciate will show up in your life. And I'm not trying to scare you, but that's just the way that it works. So I'm happy that you mentioned that. And I had a mentor that suggested this book to me when I was 26. And before this, I hadn't read any books in my life. The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles, written in 1910. Oh my gosh, it's a quick read. It's a quick read. It's so important to me that I have it on the bottom of my website for free. Somebody can read the ebook or the audio because it's just such a quick read. And I'm thankful that it only was like 77 pages so that I feel like I could actually do it. Because before that, I had never read a book by choice at 26 years old. I was an athlete, so I skimmed the textbooks for the answers to the test, and maybe made a cheat sheet or two. Like who knows? Like the statute of limitations has passed on there, so college don't come after me. Yeah. But before that, I thought life was just about like good luck, bad luck, like chance. Like some people could be successful, others couldn't. Like I just didn't know, and that really opened my mind up to law of attraction and to faith and like believing and visualization and so many powerful lessons. And then that turned me into a seeker, like what you described in the beginning of this episode. From then on, it wasn't that life was all like rainbows and roses and unicorns, because I still had the I'll be happy when syndrome. Like that was like the main challenge for me. Like so that book didn't change that. But I was open to other books and other mentors and other things, and it's just been a forever journey. This was over a decade ago now, so that's how. Yeah.
But that's when it started. So see, it's so funny. So I want to talk about mentorship. Okay, I am 30 years old. I have always believed in mentorship, and I think the more I meet people are like, well, how do you know all this stuff? I'm like, I've always had mentors, and I've always hired mentors. I've always sought mentors. It's not like somebody like came to me and was like, hey, do you want me to teach you a few things? No, it was really, I do believe it was law of attraction because I was open to it, but I also wanted more for myself. And a lot of times doesn't mean that you want just more money or you want more success or you want that perfect relationship. But at 25, I had opened myself up that I got a referral. I started seeing my life coach was amazing. I started seeing my acupuncturist. And I think what's so funny is that no matter what your age, it's never too late to have a mentor. And I really want to talk. This is like so impactful because my mentors are everything to me. And I'm so grateful for them. And I've met more along the way. And actually some of them are here. And they're amazing. And I just feel like people think that they have to do it all themselves. And they don't. They think that they can just, I'll figure it out mentally. The mind is just an observer of life. Your intuition, your soul, that's your guide. And that is where I really want people to understand that your mind can play any trick on you. You can read 100 books a day, But if you feel like you need help in any way, even if you're already good, hire a coach, hire somebody that can help you through the process, because that was one of the biggest game changers of my life. And so I know you have some followers that may need to hear this. I have some people that may need to hear this, and don't shy away from it. You are investing always in yourself, and the more you know you, the more you know your purpose. Always, 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 always. So it's cool that your mentor was like, hey, take this book, and you actually read it. How many times do people get a book recommendation and don't read it? But you trusted that person, and we need to have those relationships where we can grow. So I really believe in finding a mentor. I tell anybody and everybody. I tell my little cousins, who do you trust? Who do you love? Is there somebody that you can talk to? I value mentorship more than anything. And I see the difference. Somebody my age doesn't have a mentor, or somebody or had a mentor at some point in their lives. Even if it's like you said, you were an athlete. I'm sure you had a coach, right? You had
Always.
a coach.
Yep.
Mentor. That was a mentor. That was, it is so important to be around people who influence you to be more of who you are. So, and where your strengths are. So, that is something that I really believe in. A lot of people don't understand why people go to therapy or coaching. And now with COVID, you know how you talked about the physics of it? Well, the truth is, the more fear you put out, a lot of times the more fear you get. And I'm somebody who went through that. My third month of being in quarantine, I was completely anxiety-ridden. And if I didn't have my mentors, the people that I sought out, the people that I realized had to ground me again in my reality, which was there's nothing really to fear. Things are going to be okay. You could go the other direction. But again, it's because I have that support. So I always tell people, find the support, even if you got to pay for it. It doesn't matter. I have the best interactions with the people that I've sought out. So, I don't know. That's something that I want to talk about.
I love it. Yeah. Such a good reminder. And that comes with what you're describing, Tia, is just if we can be open to the new awarenesses coming from wherever they come from. That's the one thing, because I was an athlete, I was always open to coaching. It was like the last thing that you wanted to be was uncoachable in a team sport, because you just wouldn't play. It wasn't, you didn't get to disagree with the coach. It's okay, well, sit over here with me. So that was just all we knew. And so I was always open to that, and I never thought that I knew it all. Thank goodness. And that's why I preach that so much, just being open, because a mentor could be, if you're open to it, it could come in the form of a person. It could come in the form of a book recommendation or a podcast. Mentors can be from afar as well. But if you're open, you'll have mentors throughout your life, whether they be people in your life or books or audio. It could come in any shape or form. We just have to be open for it, and you just know that it's coming. Anything that we ask the universe for that we desire, just be open to it coming in any way, shape, or form at any time, and then it will find you. Typically, when you're not even expecting it, in a way that will surprise you most likely, and always be exciting to you, but you're open for it, so it's not going to be I wonder, is this like the mentor? No, this obviously. I always like to say the universe is so obvious. When things come into our life, it's like, duh, that's meant for me. It's like wink, wink. Here, Noel, here's something for you. So it's just.
No, it's so true. People will question those connections, and they shouldn't. Go with it. Unless you have a really bad feeling about something, generally it's meant there for you. We have some things in the chat. Arjun, hi Noel. I don't know if you're going to read this. I don't know.
Let's do it.
On my computer, and then Alyssa has a question. Let's
do it. So, let's do questions. You guys have them on Instagram. Put them. I'll ask them. Okay, so let's start from the top. If you guys want to come on, tell me on your thing. If you want to come on, and you guys can come on and ask it. But I'll just read it from here. So, just like Krishna, mentor is very important. Can I ask a question? I don't see a question on there. Arjun asked, is this Arjun, Tia is a tarot reader and she does astrology chart readings. So if you have a question that is relevant for you, that would benefit you in your life, go for it. Oh, Alyssa wants to come on. Yes. And Alyssa, I'm already inviting you because Alyssa's your mentor, right, Tia?
Yes, Alyssa is actually my mentor's daughter, but she's over there. She's like a sister, and we help each other.
I'm gonna interview your mentors here on this podcast if you guys are open to it. All you guys can come on video, Alyssa, and you can ask whatever you want.
Oh, okay. I'll get to you, Arjun. We'll get to you in a second.
Awesome.
Oh, I love
hello.
guys on Instagram.
No, you're mute. And then here, I'll let you guys see on Instagram too. all the beautiful humans. Okay. Alyssa, I can't hear you. There you go. Now I hear you.
You got it?
Wait, what's the echo? Oh, that's all. I can hear you, T. I can't hear Alyssa. What's the echo that I hear? Who's?
Are you good? I got it. You guys okay? I'm talking.
Oh, that's why. That's why. So my thing is muted here. So I got to figure this out. I might have too much technology going at one time. So I can only hear Tia from the phone, and Alyssa is not on the phone. So I just unmuted the computer, and then I'm gonna pull this phone away so it doesn't echo. I can hear you. Go for it.
First of all, I want to say hi to everybody, and I want to thank you for doing this conversation. The more conversations we have, the more we can relate to one another, the more we allow ourselves to sort of express those people. And my question is for Tia, which is, feeling? How do you know the difference between conditioned thought and knowing yourself? I think it was Arjun. Yeah, that said something about every situation is your situations in general are your mentor. But
just like COVID has taught many things to us.
Right, exactly, which is what they were talking about before. But I love that. But and that leads to knowing yourself. I just wanted to do a shout out because that was very smart. But Tia, what does it mean? What do you think it means to know yourself, and how do you identify that? How do you what is it? Is it a feeling? Is it a thought? Like I said, what is it? A conditioned belief system, or is it who you really are? How do you know?
So I love the question. I feel that for a lot of people, it can hit them at any point. You can go through most of your life completely conditioned and have no idea why you think the way you do if you've never been open to something beyond yourself. So it doesn't mean that you have to be religious or even spiritual, but it's more about crafting that listening ear to something beyond you. So I tell people, when you know yourself, there are tools to help you, which is why I use astrology, which is why I use tarot, which is why I use human design. But I think generally speaking, knowing yourself is all about listening to that inner voice. And all of us have that inner voice. And I want to talk about the inner voice for a second. For some people, it's I always have this fear-based thought. It's not that. If there's anything in your mind that starts with what, it's never a question of knowing. It starts with, this is how I feel, I believe. Yeah, it's usually almost like a whisper. So knowing yourself is really knowing how to listen to that inner voice. That's what I think. But for people who are seekers naturally, who believe there's something beyond, meaning they just feel like we're connected, they believe in energy, they believe in just something a little bit more than themselves, it really is about you knowing that you have the tools at your disposal, that astrology isn't an accident. Tarot is not an accident. Mystical arts are not accidents. It is the deep wanting and seeking that the human has because the soul lives in it. And so there are people that I know that were never spiritual, and then something traumatic happened to them, which caused them to start figuring out who they are. And in that moment, they still probably wouldn't say they're spiritual. But guess what? Spirit awakened in them. Whether you believe it or you don't, your spirit is always with you. And I have an atheist father, okay, who is the most giving, generous old soul you're ever going to meet. I mean, he was like, I'm 70 years old, I can't see, but if I could see, I would be out there with the protesters. And my dad, as an atheist old soul, okay, can simply say that and still tell me he doesn't believe anything beyond himself. But
who he is on the inside, that inner voice that speaks to him, knows better than his personality does. So his personality just told me that, but my dad's been listening to that inner voice his whole life. So you don't necessarily need to be spiritual or into this stuff or religious or anything like that to know yourself. You just have to be willing to listen. That's it.
No, that's a great answer. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I mean, that's a great answer, and pointing to both you guys about being open to it. But the whole thing is that I've always believed or have studied that we are love, right? At our core, we're love. We're sparks of source, and as you said, the personality may still be there, but it doesn't know. I have a difficult time listening to my inner voice. You see, when your father doesn't, whether he's an atheist or not, and it's about what do you feel when you know your inner voice is right? What do you feel? I guess that's really my question. What do you feel? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel joy? Do you feel a sense of gratification or fulfillment? What is it that you feel? Because it's hard to delineate.
Let me chime in on this. Hold on. Let me get the audio. Let me get the audio right. I'm gonna put this down here, and I'm gonna go back to here because I have some. This would be very helpful for you, Alyssa, and everybody in the audience. So, and Tia, you hit on it perfectly. All that we need to know is what that inner voice. That is who we all truly are. That's the non-physical energy that is being housed in these physical avatars. Mine's called Noel's, yours called Tia, yours is called Alyssa, yours is called Arjun, and yours is whoever you are out there. And so that's who we truly are. And for us to be able to hear it, this is the most important thing because we can only hear it and see it, the synchronicities that we want to see and the intuition, what we speak of as intuition, is when we're in a frequency that is a match to it. Like when we're being who we truly are. So all those words that you just described are labels of energy that now in 2020 and beyond can actually be measured. I've been to events where I've seen like brain waves measured and I've seen like heart frequency measured and I've seen the energy measured in a room, and we'll label those as like, oh, I'm happy or I'm sad or I'm excited or I'm joyful or I'm loving or all these different things. But just know that anything that feels like good, like peaceful, or more momentum is going there, like in those moments, you're being who you truly are. You're a match to well-being. If you want to talk about health, you're a match to awesome synchronicities, ideas, people, places, circumstances. When you're feeling good, when you're not, you're never disconnected from it because that's the energy that is who all of us truly are. But you're just in a different place, so you can't hear a synchronicity that's saying, come this way, do this thing. When you're frustrated or you're worried, you're just going to have thoughts and ideas that are frustrated and worried thoughts. Like, if you guys think about it out there, the only thoughts that pop into our mind are an exact match to the frequency that we're in the moment. Can never be any other way. None of us can say, oh, I was in the worst mood ever, but I was just having these blissful thoughts all day, and I was just so excited. It just can't be. That's not a match. And so all that we have to know is what's our frequency in the moment, and are we being who we truly are, which those frequencies are what you described. And if so, you can trust all the thoughts that come from there, all the intuition, all the inspiration, like any nudge that we have from there to go do this thing or call this person or say this thing, follow it, because that life experience is like we're on the path. Like I just look at life as one long path, however long we're going to be here, and all the things that we want to be and do and have are on this path. Like it's lit up for us. And when we're feeling good, like when we're connected, when we're being who we truly are, when we're being the light, then we're on the path, and we're going to have awesome synchronicities and ideas, and we're going to put more stuff like on the path. We're like, ooh, I want this relationship, I want this health goal, I want this financial, I want all of this stuff. And when we're feeling things that are like frustrated or worried or anxious or angry or upset, it's all part of the human experience. Nothing wrong with it. It's in fact showing us things that we're like, ooh, that was unpleasant. I want to experience this in my life. So it's all serving us, all of it. But just know that when we're experiencing anything that doesn't feel so good, we're not on the path. We're on the path to more things that aren't going to be as enjoyable. The drama scene in the movie where it's like, ooh, that's not such a fun scene to be in. I hope those characters get out of this scene alive and don't go off the mountaintop, because then this life experience is over and then you get to try again. So.
True. I feel like, what people want to know is that, I think what Lissa's question too on top of it was like the feeling you get when you are in that place to receive, Noelle. So that feeling, I will tell you, Lissa, it feels like there is somebody that is giving out their hand to you. It is a feeling of trust. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. feeling of trust. It doesn't
And
feel
I'm writing it down.
doesn't feel excited. It just feels on point. It's the same thing Noelle was saying about synchronicity. It's like almost like you're at the right place, the right time. That space lives within you. It is there. It is present. It literally is. It's almost. I always think about it, it's like a grandmother reminding you who you are. It's like, give me your hand, honey. I know exactly who you are, and it's just trusting it. Mm-hmm. So that is where I have always had to. I have anxiety. For those of you out there who have any mental disorders, I empathize with all of it. Anxiety. I've gone through the whole 9 yards. Okay, even as spiritual and open
on this path. But what I always say when I'm in those moments of spinning, because like you said, Noelle, like if you're sitting in that shit, you may feel like it.
Because you just are in that space. So the minute that inner voice comes in, even in your worst moments, again, it feels like a feeling of trust. It's why people say take a deep breath, because it gets you out of your mind and into your, almost like your nervous system. So you're able to come back down. That's the whole point of breathing. Our breathing exercises, it's to get you back down to where you need to be. So
that nervous system, you're saying?
Yeah, because
the central nervous system.
Yeah, 100%. And the inner voice to me is something that I've always trusted. But I'll tell you, the minute you let your mind control, meaning let your mind get in the way, it's not meant to make decisions for you. The mind is not meant to make decisions for you. It is not. We think that way because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. It is the pitter-patter of the inner voice that you listen to. And the minute that you do, things flow like Noelle said. That's what I believe.
It's way easier than you guys think to know what's what. Like if it feels expansive from the chest, if you're trying to make a decision and you feel expansive about it, that's the inner voice. That's who you truly are. If it feels like you're contracting, like it feels a little, that's not it. Like that's because all of this again can be measured. Like that's the beautiful thing of where we are in 2020 and beyond. Like science and spirituality married. Like all the stuff that sounded like woo-woo to people 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like what are they talking about? Energy and frequency and vibration. Like what is all these? There were books that were like outlawed and banned because they were talking about vibration, just at the beginning of the last century. And so now we're at a point in human history where we can actually measure these things scientifically. So once we get to the point where we can just really get used to knowing what frequency, energy, vibration, mood we're in right here and now, because that's the beautiful thing that can give us all peace. Like doesn't matter what you were an hour ago, doesn't matter what you'll be tomorrow. Like in this moment, we all measure at a frequency, like scientifically, and we can feel that to where it's like, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling at peace. I'm feeling calm. Like you can trust everything from those places. Like the only information that's coming from you is from source, from God, from love, from all that is. And if it's coming from a different place, then it doesn't feel so good. You'll feel like contracting, and you could just tell. And once you start paying attention to it and it matters to you, then you just get really good at it to where you don't even have to like ask the question. Like I don't have to consciously ask like Noelle, how are you feeling right now? Like I know, like self-awareness, self-honesty. Like let's use like a more straightforward word. Like let's be honest with ourselves.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean it's it's all great information, and it's. I guess where I think I get confused sometimes with, and you're totally right about the science and the spirituality being married, because there are so many people out there, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, all of these people who are actually measuring the science of the brain. And I think that Tia and I have talked about this before, is that sometimes there's layers that you're working from on a spirit level that is beyond the body. Is the spirit creating that? Is the thoughts? It gets very confusing, and maybe I'm overthinking it. But I still feel triggered by certain people, even if I do all this mental work or go to retreats or learn about the science. I still feel triggered by my mother, and I want to kill her sometimes. I'm still triggered. And I adore her. She's my life, my probably my partner in life for now. But I think that, and there are other things as being an empath that I can be out in the world and feel things and pick things up and be triggered, and then it's my own insecurity and my own worth. And I'm like, okay, mentally I can shift it, but then there's something deep, deep underneath. So I don't know if you can speak to that.
Noelle or me? I mean,
Tia, you can start. Tia, anybody.
Let's do this for the sound quality, Tia. Let's go back to only hearing each other on sound. So when questions are asked, we'll need to hear it out of the computer. But when we're speaking, you or I, Tia, let's just only go where we can hear out of the phone. Because the people on Instagram are like, I can't hear it. It's all this echo.
Yeah, so
so is Lissa going to be able to hear it if I mute my
Yeah, but just so the sound will come out of the computer only when people on the computer are talking besides you and I. But then once they're done and we're speaking, let's just mute the computer sound so that the phone people are more.
Oh, okay. So
we're not
I shouldn't mute
torturing
the
there.
computer right now.
So yeah, mute the computer. They'll hear us regardless on the computer.
I hear.
So she doesn't hear me.
Because you muted your Zoom. Mute your computer, not your Zoom.
Oh. What about now?
Perfect.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know there's a difference. So, Lissa, your question. Your soul does not register, from my understanding, what I've studied all these years, your soul does not register this lifetime as separate from other incarnations. So when you're still dealing with the mental block versus that soul block that makes you feel like there's still layers that are triggering you, it is in you from other lifetimes as well as this one. The soul has a memory to it. So for us, like, we can try and wrap our brains around it, like, oh, I want to love my mom all hours of the day. Oh, I want. And this goes, you guys, this is not just about your one relationship. It could be around work. It could be around anything in life. Your resentment towards anything, right? Your weight. It could literally go with anything. The whole thing is that those layers are because your soul has a memory. It has a memory. So for you, you're like, I don't know why she's triggering me. I don't want to be mad at her. I logically don't want to be mad at her. In fact, it proves that the mind is not what controls our reality. I do not believe that. I believe that you are your soul, and then your mind interact, and then you can think positive thoughts. But if you don't feel positive thoughts, that mind, guess what? There's only so much it can register, because the soul, in my belief, leads. So those layers that your mom triggers in you really comes down to things that have happened that are beyond your mental consciousness. It's like subconscious. So I do, when you ask, like, knowing yourself as well, it's knowing that and karma with all sorts of people. And there are people you haven't even met yet that you've got karma with. And so these aren't necessarily negative things. It's just about growth. The soul chose this path to evolve. And then while it is in incarnations, shit happened, and there you go. We've got some stuff we got to work through. Okay? And it's going to follow us until we really work through it. And so if that one person like your mom, Lissa, triggers a part of you that feels maybe insecure, whether it was her or not, your soul needs to go through the lesson of insecurity. Let's just say that.
Let me chime in. So we have 122 left on Instagram, but you guys we're going to keep talking to you guys. Hey, on Instagram, if you guys want to join us on Zoom, come join us. Go to my stories and swipe up on the registration, and it'll send you the link for Zoom, because we're going to keep flowing here a little bit. But this is very important when it comes to relationships, and Tia was just hitting on it beautifully. So here's how you can actually, and my advice, when you're interacting with people that you have challenging relationships with, I've had that with some family members, those long relationships where you've had so many life experiences where you guys have practice states of being around each other. I highly recommend, before going into one of these challenging relationships, you're super mindful of what your vibration is going into the interaction. So for me, it's not enough to be in that vibration of just, oh, I'm not happy, I'm not sad, I'm just blah, I'm just whatever. That's not good enough for me, because that's like, I can be triggered so fast into frustrated or irritated from that place. So in those relationships, I demand of myself that I go in like almost playful. Like, I'm just like, I'm excited to talk to them because I love this person. You love these people. Like, it's just because they trigger you. I mean, it's all good. So I go in playful to where they're either willing to come play with me there in the playful, like, let's enjoy life energy, or they may say to you, because I've been told, Noel, you're just way too much for me right now. I can't deal with you right now. And then it's all good. We'll just reconvene later when we can both play at that energy. But I'm not willing to go play with them in a frustrated, worried, irritated energy because I know that that momentum is going to build. And then I'm going to be apologizing for whatever it is that I'm saying or doing from there. And I just prefer not to go there. Been there, done that.
No, very helpful.
Yeah.
All this stuff is great.
I love it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, Noel, and I think that I have the same thing that Lisa has with her mom, with my mom. I think a lot of people do.
For sure. Me too. I've had it too, for sure.
So I think we choose that connection in this lifetime and this lesson, and some of us are mentally stubborn to them. It takes a while to get there, and then I'm Taurus. You're Taurus. I'm stubborn in my nature, right? We're stubborn. But I try and push myself out of that because I don't let my mind get in the way. I really have learned to just go here. Like, I literally go right below, like, my sternum, essentially. That's where I always, if I need to figure out something emotionally, I go there. Because that's where I know my soul is. My soul is ruthless. It just does. So.
And you explained it beautifully, Tia, because these are all soul contracts that we signed up for sure, to help us evolve, like all of it, like every single, I mean, even to the point where, people that have, kids that might be special need or have handicaps or like everything that is happening, like it was to help us evolve, and even like we take it a step further, even people that pass away, early, like prematurely in your life, like let's take like back in February before all the coronavirus madness, like Kobe Bryant passed, which really hit home, like for me, like that was one of my heroes. And so, like, I just realized, and it was very challenging as it was happening, just like for the rest of us. Like, it was, like, it really, my energy was like all over the place that day. But I shared a video with people because those that were attracted to it, I knew it would give them peace to know that look at how he responded by them leaving, like him and his daughter. Like, for a moment, people were like coming together and appreciating life. And then it was funny, like, I saw probably the funniest like Facebook post I've ever seen. Like, a week later was the Super Bowl. And they said, a week ago, we were all coming together because of the death of Kobe Bryant, and now we're out here arguing because Shakira and J-Lo aren't wearing enough clothes at the Super Bowl. Like, what happened?
I got so frustrated with that. Like, a lot of it because I'm such a feminist, but also because I think people are going to find the negative.
Of course.
And so you're right about the Kobe thing. I think, people were like so shocked, and everybody was. But I also feel like it's so hard to trust the universe the way that when tragedy happens. It's like so hard to trust that moment. You're like, well, why would God want this? Or why would the universe do this? It's not that simple though. And like you said, a lot of it goes down to soul contracts. But I also believe that like sometimes there are accidents. Like I've been mentored with a lot of spiritual teachers, and a lot of times there are things where the soul that wasn't necessarily meant the way it was supposed to go, right? But
It's possible. Who knows? Possibility.
So I try to have peace with some things are really meant to be, and I do have some things where it's like, even if they weren't, it's all okay.
And because we're eternal. That's why it's all okay. This is why I have the ultimate peace, is because it would suck, really suck, if this was like the one go around and like our energy died with our physical body and that was it. Woo! That'd be rough. Like that, it would be a whole different way of like living like here. But knowing that the energy is eternal, so just because it leaves its physical avatar, it still lives on. That was all the piece that I need to know, to where death doesn't affect me. It affects me like it does any human, where I'm experiencing it in the moments where I want someone to still physically be here, of course. But knowing that I can still connect with their energy like beyond this physical body and know how to do that, and any of us can do that. And there's people on this planet, they're called mediums. That's their like one of their most passionate life experiences, is to help people connect with people that have left their physical bodies. So that gave me enough peace to go for it.
Another question? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm good. This is fun for me.
It's interesting because you talk about, for you, Tia, that everything is, comes from below your sternum or your gut or whatever it is. It's not about your mind. Okay, so astrologically, since you are the maven and you know about human design, but I think people will be more connected. I don't know if a lot of people know about human design. It's fabulous. They all relate. But it's like different astrological makeups. Like, for instance, I saw Arjun. Is that correct, Arjun? Is that the pronunciation? Scorpio, and
Noelle is Libra.
Noelle is Libra, right? So different approach. What I've learned about astrology, and I want you to speak to this. And you know what? I just want you to speak to it. So,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
like, so from what I know about astrology is that when you are an air sign, which is Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini, you're more heady. In other words, maybe your gut, or I don't know if it's a personality or whatever it is, but it's all about figuring it out and mentally stimulating and trying to, work on it through that vein. And when you're Scorpio, from what I understand, it's more, you are a perennial student and you want to know everything, but it's not spoken as much and it's more from the gut. Is that like, I want you to speak to it like the different ways that people approach it. People think maybe if you change your mind and you do the affirmations and it'll change the chemistry in your body and and all of that stuff is true. Where does it all tie together?
So I love your question, and I will say, this is a little education. So this is so great because based on different parts of who we are, there's different modalities. Astrology, human design. I wrote the soul's own experience. But generally, like for example, like you said, Libra air signs, they tend to be very cerebral. So a lot of it just needs. It's more so that they almost need to have a mental process around it, and they just generally like intellect. It's very much they appreciate intellectual conversation. I'm not surprised you're a Libra hosting a little podcast thing. Like doing these things are all about stimulating that mental sphere. It's about the stimulation, not necessarily making decisions or, always having to be in that space. But generally, air signs will be more logical and create peace around the thought through the mental processes versus just being like, well, I just feel like this. That's it. I just feel like it. Whereas Scorpio.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
sorry.
no. Carry on.
So like a Scorpio, for example, a lot of Scorpios are led by fear. As much as they don't want to admit it, because they feel things so intensely and they're very intuitive naturally, the Scorpio is also ruled a little bit by mystery. So that lives in the to make it a logical process unless they've been conditioned to do that by their family. So for example, I was raised by Scorpios, so a lot of my conditioning, when I ever made a decision, I would first go to a place of worst case scenario because my parents always thought about the fear. So like, well, if you go to school, like, what if you get kidnapped? Was like a common question for my upbringing, and I'm like, well, I don't know, but I'm a Taurus, and I was determined about my life and that the way I made decisions and a lot of the things that I did was honestly based in pure determination. So it's such an interesting way that you're almost like your first case scenario and mindset changes based on the sign.
Just very like you said about, you said your parents are wanting you, they're both Scorpios, they both want you to have a master's degree because the master's degree is going to give you this fear-based. It's like, what if you can't get a certain job because you're not so smart or you don't have, enough under your belt to be able to make money in the world? And it's interesting. I mean, I never thought of Scorpios as fear-based, but I know that they are perennial students, but it comes from a different way than, say, a Libra. Which is Libra like information, to have the information, and they utilize it, but they like the stimulation, where the Scorpio is like, I have to, have all this in a row to make sure that I can do this and have that. Is that let me reframe it. Noelle, you probably think what's the best case scenario. The Scorpio is going to think what's the worst case scenario. Generally speaking.
I have something to add to this when you're done. I'm really excited to share. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
So I just want to remind, because I always like to be the reminder of all of this that we're describing is only happening in the moment. So there will be moments where all these signs are not doing this, and there will be some moments where they are doing this. So, and there's 600 million of each sign roughly. So I always like to make sure that people don't like already like preconceived notions on someone, because in this moment they could be totally like different. So it's all possibility, but I mean, I'm not saying that it's not like maybe their normal way of being is maybe like this. Totally cool. Oh, good to know that. I still like to make sure that people realize that whatever energy that you bring to the interaction is always going to be the most powerful, because people, especially if you're bringing who you really truly are to the party. Like if you're bringing, the frustrated, anxious, worry version of you, then you don't have much power at all. But if you're bringing who you truly are to the party, their only options, and this is what I was sharing before we got cut off on Instagram, is either join us at the party here, or we'll just reconvene when we're both willing to play here. But or you could blame them and say I was in such a good mood before you came around, and then you get to join them in the blame energy, and then we all know how fun that is there. So we always have the option of what energy we bring, and that's going to always be the most powerful. That gives me so much peace.
Isn't astrology in a way also a funnel? So you have a soul and you're funneling it through like for instance, I mean, Noelle was talking about, you don't want to be preconceived. No, totally agree with you, because then that's racist, right? I mean, it's like you're trying to put something in a category. I What I have noticed is that there are, like in everything, like human design, other things, there are many, 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 many layers, hundreds and hundreds of elements in each person's chart, and it's all set up because it's all like you pick your parents before you come into this earth to learn your lessons. You pick your charts because that helps you learn your lessons. It's all a funnel for spirit. You pick your personality, which is part of your chart or your human design. And that's why when you study this stuff long enough, whether it be human design, numerology, what's the other one is the Enneagram, whatever it is, astrology, whatever it is, or I'm a dragon in Chinese astrology, they all link up on some interesting level that makes me think that it's all about my higher purpose. Not about terrorizing people, but about I understand I can leverage empathy if I know that someone's going to react better if I'm this way, perhaps. You know what I mean? And you are right, Noelle. There are many multiple areas of, dimensions of who we are. So you could bring one to the other. However, I know a couple people born on your birthday, and October 6th.
Nice.
And it's uncanny of the similarities. Uncanny. And that's how I've done my research, is that I find it uncanny that there are certain basic fundamental things that are so similar and energetic. Anyways, I'm just rambling.
I mean, there is something called, apart from the sun sign, there is a moon sign significance also, right? Wherein you will have a birth star also, which also plays a vital role. I don't know if you people believe in birth star or not. So there are some 27 birth star in the constellation. So based on that, also the behavior changes, even though the sun signs are same.
Right. So, Arjan, you asked me like the astrological prediction. So I would have to actually go through your chart. I can't just like know by like just looking at the time and place and all that. But there are better times based on where the general planets are to buy a house, sign a lease, create contracts of any sort. Right now, when Mercury in retrograde, this isn't the time. But unless you really have to. But for example, like for you, like you're a Scorpio. Like I know that you're gonna want some answers. Just again, it's not to generalize you, but I just know I have a lot of Scorpio friends. My parents are both Scorpios. It's more of like you like the certainty, because then your fear does not. There's no breathing life into the fear or the worry aspect, right? So a lot of my advice for you, and then I can do your chart at some point. It's really just about trusting that the little motions will create the big motions. I've had to tell this to both my parents my whole life. So that, for example, because I'm a little bit of an older soul than both my parents. So it's so funny because for you as a Scorpio, the last 3 years probably were really intense. You had a lot of changes come through, a lot of things with your self-esteem. and competence were challenged. So it's going to get easier though. So it's already slowly gotten easier this year. It hasn't been too tough, minus the coronavirus, but that's been tough on everyone. Just now things are going to be more smooth sailing, and you're going to have to start making decisions for yourself. So if you have any influence around you that you have in your head a little bit, this is not the time to listen. This is the time for you to really, like, Scorpio needs to own its strength and not its fear. Big life lessons for Scorpios in this lifetime when you're incarnated as Scorpio is to really listen to your strengths, because you guys are tough, and that's a great thing. So the fear has no place for Scorpio, and unfortunately, it's a tendency. So I always, even if somebody's born through a tendency, like Noelle said, like you don't want to generalize. When I know the tendencies, I just see it as like a little like, okay, like, how can I make them stronger through their tendencies, right? It's not saying you have to live into them. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Also, the beauty of all this, which I love so much about astrology and everything that, Elisa, you were mentioning some things that I'm like, I haven't interviewed anybody that's talking about that stuff. So it's kind of interesting. But the beauty of all this is it's adding more awareness to who and what we truly are. And that awareness is what gives us the power to choose, which is what I'm bringing to the table as far as like the power of choice and self-awareness. And that's all I care about for any human. You never hear me say you should or shouldn't do anything. I just won't. Like, I want you to be aware enough to choose for yourself, and then just know that, so that's why I love talking about astrology and all this stuff, because it's just making you more aware of everything that you put there, Arjun. You're just aware of like what's going on, which is giving you more power to be able to even ask questions like you just asked to Tia, and that's the beauty of all this. So I love what all you guys are talking about and doing.
Just wanted to know, like, where you people are from. Like, I'm from India, so I just wanted to.
Calling from India?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm from Chicago.
Pardon?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay. Chicago. Okay.
I'm in Miami.
And what about you?
I'm in
Miami. Oh.
Yeah. Have you been to the States? Have you been out here?
No, like the only international trip I had was to Brazil.
Oh, Brazil.
Nice.
So nice.
São Paulo, São Paulo, São Paulo.
Connect with me. Are we connected on Instagram, Arjun?
Not yet. If you can paste your Instagram link,
I will.
just follow you.
I'm doing some things out in India right now with some of you guys. I've been collaborating
Because
with
I
you
was
guys.
just randomly finding for astrology and what you call psychic discussions online. So I found your channel. So then I thought I will join in. Yeah.
Very
So it was,
cool.
yeah, good to find like there are people who are discussing on even psychological things.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? And there's a lot
Yes.
to that, like Alyssa said, that a lot of times they match. So, like, I also do other
Right.
modalities in design. I absolutely love it. But it matches even as a Taurus, even as a Scorpio, even as a
Right.
Libra, whatever, they match. And I think that's purposeful by the soul. Like, I think, like, you know, in a weird way, humans, and I think the soul world, the spirit knows that we like to compartmentalize. We like to
Right.
label. It makes us feel secure. It's more of an illusion, but okay. But that's the human experience. So I think it allows us to have these tools so that we can just use them to grow, not to limit ourselves.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true. Yes, yes.
You know?
And in a time of COVID, I think this is very important to talk to people and to share your thoughts. That's very important, and it helps in a long way.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think it's so cool that, I don't know. I just think it's so cool that you're joining us from India. I love it.
That shows how cool 2020 and beyond. We live in an awesome planet. I love it.
Yeah.
So me and Tia, we're gonna co-create together again. I'm affirming that already. We'll do some workshops and some other stuff, some specific topics, because I love having people on, asking questions and interacting live. I mean, it makes it so much fun, and the conversation has gone places now because of you guys that it wouldn't have gone. So I appreciate you guys for sharing the love and the energy. T, I just want to know if there's anything that you want to share with the audience that you want them to know about that you have going on right now, and or preferably anything that somebody listening to this, even like 10 years from now, you're like, ooh, I just want to make sure that you know this about you, or just anything that will be impactful. You've been doing it the whole time, but those two questions.
So what I would say is that you have all the tools that you need to know yourself. There are so many modalities, there are so many resources, but the one tool that you need the most is that listening ear and that openness. So if you can just create a space where you're literally in your room and it's silent,
What do you feel in that space? And my hope is that you feel peace. And my hope is that you feel connected. I believe that even the most non-religious, non-spiritual, disconnected person will feel the same thing we all feel. And that there is something beyond us and within us that wants to come through. It wants to be recognized because you want to be recognized. So I do believe, as much as everyone says, oh, nobody's special, I believe we're all very unique. And it is our birthright to find out what that is for us. So that is really what I believe. What I do tarot, I do astrology, I do human design now. I absolutely love it. But I'm also just a listening ear for people that need some guidance. So I just hope that we can have more of those conversations. I absolutely love them. I'm glad that even the most skeptics will be even open to this because of the approach that you have, Noelle, because it's just enlightened conversations. Who doesn't want to be enlightened? So thank you for having me on here.
I appreciate you for coming on and sharing, and again affirming that we'll co-create together more in whatever capacity that looks like. And I even call it enlightened conversation because in the moment of the conversation, like that's where we're choosing to play in an energy of intention of empowering the audience and inspiring and anything that we're connected, like we're channeling from source. Like as we're speaking all this, I'm not thinking about anything. I don't have any notes. Like we didn't even plan on what direction the conversation was going. It's just whatever is meant to flow out. So in those moments out there, you're all enlightened. And in the moments where you're frustrated and worried, we just have to call it worried conversations or frustrated conversations. Yeah. So, choose what you wish.
Perfect. I agree.
If I can say one thing, Tia has done readings on me, and she has done readings on so many people I've met because I've referred her, and she has changed people's lives, and I really feel like anybody who wants to get more to their core and find the peace and the joy and the fulfillment in life, she can guide. She's touched. She has many gifts. So
thank you, Lisa.
I say that as her friend, but I've sent so many people to her, and they know everybody is the same. So thank you, Tia, and thank you, Noelle, for holding this. This is awesome. I loved your perspective, and we all take what we take, right? So that's why you're saying when you have an open, because that's who you are, an open conversation, you're going to take wherever you are. So I used to train in front of lots of people, and on leadership and customer service and sales. And what I realized is at the end of the 8 hours, I'd be like, okay, tell me one thing that you took. It had nothing to do with all the structure and it's just something that resonated through a story or through some place they are in their life where they need that healing and nurturing. So that's what I think. I just wanted to add that in. And I really like Arjan was, from the second you stepped on and you said, every situation is our mentor. I was like, this guy's got something to say. So this is really cool. And thank you for holding it. Okay, I'm done. I talked over a minute for that. But
we're going to clip that and make sure that Tia has that as a promotional tool because you just gave her the best ringing endorsement. So we'll make sure that you have that, Tia.
Well, she's worth it. She's a touched person, and she's going to get out there more and more because people need her.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. I got good support. That's right. The mentors support. Arjan, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Are there any plans of meetups frequently, or it is like just a one-off reading call today?
I'm going to share something with Tia. So what you guys don't know yet is this is a part of a even bigger vision. So Enlightened Conversation is a subsegment of Universal Abundance, which everybody on the planet is invited to participate in. And what Universal Abundance is, it's combining the consciousness, what we're sharing right now, just new awareness, access, which how much more valuable is this conversation versus if it was only the video of Tia and I, which would be valuable, it'd be good awareness and consciousness. But the fact that you were able to ask questions that were pertinent to your life is like, imagine if every book that we read, imagine if I could have got Wallace Wattles on the phone, which he was long gone by the time I read this, but imagine if I could have said, hey, Wallace, like on page 30, like you mentioned this about gratitude, and I'm just curious, like, it would have been a more valuable book and I would have moved life along quicker. And so what I see for humanity right now is very simple. For us to live a fun, fulfilling, full life, all we really need, and I use need loosely because we have everything that we need inside of us, and we'll become aware of it as we go. However, what is helpful is having the consciousness that we talked about this whole time, of who and what we truly are. And once we're open to continuously discovering more, the only other thing that really, for us to have a fun, fulfilling, like full life, is abundance of everything, more than enough of everything that matters to us: time, money, relationships, health, like whatever's important to you. Like if we have more than enough, along with the consciousness of who we truly are, we go create anything. We create utopia here on earth. So that's overall what I'm creating right now. And everybody, that's why I said I'm doing stuff in India, because I'm collaborating there and all over the world. And everybody's invited to not only use this as a consciousness tool, but also as a monetization and abundance tool, to where you have your time, you have the freedom to go create whatever life that you want for yourself and for humanity. And so I was gonna share some stuff with Tia about that, because she mentioned she had questions about that, and I'll happily share in front of all you guys as well if you want to. But everybody's invited to participate, because we can all do it. Like we're talking to someone in India, in Chicago, and I'm in Miami, and we could have these to where I'm doing another one of these in half an hour. There could be people from anywhere on the planet. I don't know, but everybody's invited to participate.
I do want to hear about it. I do want us to have a conversation when you have time, Noel, about it, because I looked into it. I'm like, I've been in business and sales most of my career, and I love the concept.
Yeah.
I understood of it at least, and I liked his question. I like Arjan's question. I mean, Noel does a lot of enlightened podcasts, so follow him on Instagram. So we have, different people. He has another person in 30 minutes. And I think that there's no accent that you were led here, Arjan. I think there's something for you that your soul is looking for. So that's the feeling of that. So
yeah, and also I also like discussing psychological situations and all. So I would like to participate, and if at all, if I can be of any worth to anyone, giving any suggestion or discuss, I will be very happy to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now that you register for this, Arjan, you'll get the constant. That's the cool thing. Like once you're on here, like you'll get access to everything that I do for free. So
yeah, sure,
you're good.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love it. And you in the email, you already see there's 4 of them that I've already put on the email from this week. So
yeah, I followed you on Instagram right away.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you out there for tuning in. Share this episode, definitely. If you're on Facebook right now watching this, or YouTube, or wherever, hit the share button. That's the beautiful thing about 2020 and beyond as well. It's so easy to make an impact on someone, even if you're not the one doing the actual transmission, or you're receiving the transmission. Just to hit the share button, you can make a huge impact in someone's life. And highly recommend following Enlightened Conversations for all the different awesome humans that I'm talking to, like Tia, and leave a review there, which also makes it easier for people to find, and say, that Tia human, like she's awesome. Like any new awarenesses that you had, I'll screenshot it. I'll make sure I tag her in it, along with the 1-minute clip that Alyssa did for her, which is awesome. And side note on that.
I didn't even dress up for this either. I don't know if that matters. But, I know what it comes from the heart and what I've seen. So, and that's awesome.
So important. If you guys out there, anytime you have an energetic nudge towards, following someone like Tia, or reaching out to them, or doing a reading, or anything, don't second guess that. That's what we were talking about the whole episode. That is a beautiful next step on our journey. There's, if nothing else, there's a life experience there, which is going to provide new clarity for you as far as, I want to keep going in this direction, or, let me go in this direction. Without the life experience, there's no clarity. So you're in the same place as you were before. So I'm pro-life experience, especially when there's any type of curiosity or sense of adventure or just wonder. Go do it. Anything out there. It's just, don't jump off a cliff without a parachute. I don't think you're curious to do that. That's not going to end well for you. But things that, won't take you out of this physical body, do it.
Absolutely. No, that's true. I think I really believe your soul knows more than you even do. So I do. Absolutely. But this was wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Everybody who came. This was awesome. I'm going to check out some of your other podcast stuff too, because I've mean to listen. And I looked on Instagram and I watched a lot of the videos on there, but it's just I got to get on my phone. It just takes a lot of memory on my phone. So it's going on my iPad. So because I love this, I'm sure everything else I've seen was also great. I highly recommend. I think there's so many gifted people. Yeah. And Noel, thanks for bringing us together.
I appreciate you guys. We're all in this together. Just different versions of the same energy. So I love and appreciate you all, and everybody out there. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a beautiful day.
Oh, thanks.
You guys are awesome.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
See you guys.
Bye now.
See ya. Tia, are you in a hurry right now?
No, I'm good.
Chill out. I'll show you something really quick. If you have, I have like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you guys can watch
You
too.
have your reading, or you're not reading your podcast.
I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I'm gonna stop the stream.